You all knew this video was coming. If you saw what was tweeted this morning by Henry Thurlow, that I'm about to get here in just a second, you knew this was coming. Where there's any kind of One Piece hype, you know your boy's gonna be there. But especially for my favorite stretch of chapters in this series being animated this year, in the marvelous year 2023. Oh, you knew this was coming, man. We just recently released our poll for favorite episodes of 2022 for the One Piece anime. And so far, a lot of lists with similar episodes, different episodes. Reigning at the top are the kings of last year. But just knowing how insane last year was, providing some of the greatest episodes in the entire series, my personal favorite episode of all time in anything. Last year was a strong year, a very strong year for the One Piece anime and the manga. And so, coming off of that high, all of us were expecting a legendary 2023. We were expecting Toei to come out here with their ovens, their grills, and Gordon Ramsay full level display. We were expecting the boys to come out here and for us to smell the cooking all the way from Japan to here. Where I walk outside of my house, I go to turn on my car, I'm like, yo, what's that smell? And I go searching for it. I get in a plane, get on a 16-hour flight, and I arrive in Tokyo, Japan. I'm still looking for the place. I arrive in front of the Toei Animation building, and I'm like, oh, this is the source of the smell. This is where that stuff that we're experiencing on a weekly basis is coming from, whether it be that it originates from here or from the individuals working around the world on our beloved series. They were going to be cooking at the highest level in 2023, considering the content that is going to be covered this year, man. We all expected it. Ladies and gentlemen, straight from Henry Thurlow, this isn't one of us. Well, technically Henry Thurlow is one of us. He's a fan who has the opportunity to work on this series that we all love and adore, right? But this is coming from an individual that is working on this series, that knows the 25-year history of this series, man, and knows how incredible last year was. Let's hear what Henry Thurlow has to say about the One Piece anime in 2023, because before I go to this, just look, bro. Room shambles, bam, shambles, bam. I mean, bro, last year, shambles. It was a golden year, Yo, I can't wait for this year, man. Like, just this week's upcoming episode already has me about ready to explode, let alone the content that's to come, right? So, here we go. Our comment here from Henry Thurlow, it states, 2023 is arguably going to be the best year for the One Piece anime in its 25-year history. And yo, we've been saying this for a minute in regards to it has the potential to do so. From anime-only viewers wondering how Wano will end, to manga readers desperately waiting to see that scene. Peak fiction. You know what scene he's talking about. We all know what scene he's talking about. Adapted or that one. Pick any of them. Or that other one. Pick any of them. The year was so stacked, it could be any one of those other scenes, but I know what that first scene is. Trust me, son, we all know what that first scene is. It's going to be a crazy year. Fans will get it all in 2023. Now, obviously, this is going to be an awesome year, filled with some of the most legendary moments in the entire series finally being animated. However, I want to spend this video talking about two different things. Number one, speculating what chapters are actually going to be adapted this year. And number two, which chapters I believe will be elevated by by the anime adaptation. And I'm not going to go really deep into spoiler content. So if you're an anime only, to be safe, probably leave the video, but I'm not going to go into specifics. So don't worry about that. So in my notebook earlier, the moment that I saw this, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and calculate exactly, like, chapter-wise where we might actually end this year. Just based on how this year went, pacing-wise, the breaks. Obviously, there was the hack that took a month away from us as well. So there was a few different variables, so we only got 40 episodes this year, right? So obviously, we're about to have the adaptation of the final part of chapter 1022, and what I'm going to assume is the first part of chapter 1023, in this upcoming episode, right? So we're starting off the year at 1022. Let's just say if we have 42 to 44 episodes, which I think is going to be what we're going to get based on the breaks. God forbid there's any other situation like what we had earlier this year. But just based on the breaks that we're probably going to get throughout the year, and of course the holiday breaks as well, I'm going to give or take 42 to 44 episodes is my prediction for this week's or for this year's content. So to cover from 1022 to what in 42 to 44 episodes? If we do one chapter a week, we can get all the way to chapter 1064 or 1066 by the end of the year. I don't think that's going to happen, just based on the fact that what's been so great about Wano's anime adaptation is the creative liberties they've been taking with each individual episode and covering certain parts either earlier than normal or adding on to certain scenes that that adds more weight to what's happening, right? And also to the transitions from scene to scene. And obviously in certain episodes, it definitely feels like it weighs the pacing down, but in other episodes, it makes it and elevates it to a higher level than any of us anticipated. So, it comes with the territory, right? Those are the creative risks and adding scenes that were not originally in the manga. And so with that being said, I don't think they're going to do one chapter a week. I honestly don't think so. So with that being said, we're probably going to be doing the same thing we did earlier this year or last year, which is that in between 12 to 16 pages in a week, and some weeks maybe the full 18, considering that we're really, really behind now. I think this is the furthest we've been behind on the manga in a long time. Like from 1022 to 1070, by the time this episode airs, I think 1071 will be out. So 1071. So it is, we're really, really far back. So I don't know if they're going to take that as an opportunity to do one chapter a week or not. That remains to be seen. But for me, I like what they've been doing so far with the anime in regards to the way they've been taking their own creative liberties. So if they do their 15, 16 pages, I'm fine with that. So let's just say we do the 15, 16 pages, of course, diving into certain chapter pools. We get like certain episode specials like we did earlier last year for the Yamato and Ace special. Let's just say we get something like that where it's anime original content that's strictly anime only, but it serves an amazing purpose in the greater narrative of the Onigashima, of the anime adaptation of Onigashima. So with that being said, like I said, one chapter a week, we reach, with 42 to 44 episodes in the year, we'll probably reach around 1064, 1066. However, so I don't think it's going to be one chapter a week. And based on what Henry Thurlow is saying, that he believes that that Wano will end this year in the One Piece anime, we're looking at, it could legitimately end in December for the Wano anime ending around like, the One Piece anime this year ending around like 1057 to 1060, right? Like 1057, 1058, 1059, somewhere on there. Will be ending off the year if we continue at the pace that we're currently going and we only get around 42 to 44 episodes. Because if we get a little more than that, if we get 46 to 48 episodes, even at the current pace that we're going, we're easily going to make it over there. So obviously I'm not in the know, so I'm not sure how far we're going into the year. But just based on his comment here, I'm not sure if he's talking about the Wano ending as in we're getting into the final like stretch, like the legit final couple chapters by the end of the year, or if we're really finishing the arc at the end of this year. Either two possibilities are there. I do think it is genuinely possible for us to reach 1057 at the end of the year, especially at the pace that we're currently going, right? So with that being said, obviously if that is true and we go from 1022 to around 1057, 1060, somewhere in that range, it's going to be a strong year for the One Piece anime. Obviously, we're all extremely excited for the obvious ones, the 1042 to 1045 stretch, even the 1030s, man, you got some really, really good, and the 1020s. The 1020s has some great chapters, 1030s has some phenomenal chapters, but we're all waiting for the 1040s, right, and the 1050s for that awesome sauce. So obviously the anime adaptation of chapter 1044, 1043 and 1044 and 1045 are going to be like the most anticipated, as they should be, right? That's obviously the ones I'm looking forward to the most. But I think on top of that, we're also going to have a very strong year in regards to the other moments, like I said earlier, the 1020s, the 1030s, that they're going to be elevated to an even higher level than even maybe all of us are anticipating. And so with that being said, I want to talk about 2 chapters in particular that when they released in the manga, I'm not going to go into specifics, but when they released in the manga, the first thing I thought about in my mind was these are going to be very strong episodes that are going to elevate the source material to an insane degree, and I definitely feel that way even stronger now due to the most recent reread that I did. And those 2 chapters are chapters 1049 and 1057. 1049, obviously, if you're a manga reader, you know exactly what happens there. In 1057, you also know what happens there as well. So I feel like those 2 chapters, when done in the anime, are going to be significant. I mean, they are going to be incredible in the anime. And I'm basing this on what we've gotten so far in Onigashima and how they've been elevating the smaller moments to degrees that just leave me flabbergasted at times. Right? I'm in awe while watching the One Piece anime. Like I think about that one Tama scene of where everyone's turning over to our side of the war, and I'm just like, they did that for that? You know, and other scenes that are like that, these quote unquote smaller scenes that are given the its time in the sun to truly become great moments. And so when I think about that, and I think back to those 2 chapters when they released, and the potential for all-time peak moments there, I do think especially 1049 is going to be special in the anime. I do, because I feel like it's going to receive the same treatment that all of the other climactic attacks got in the anime. They've always nailed the climactic attack, right? Always. Toei's always done a great job with that. Toei's always been great with handling the big moments, and 1049 is such a massive major moment that I feel like when we get that episode, it is undoubtedly going to surpass the manga material just based on the visual spectacle that it's going to be. And a lot of those chapters and have that potential, right? Like I think about 1033 and 1035, obviously, for the individuals that are involved there, that it's going to be really special in the anime, just based on, you know, the bias that we tend to see towards certain characters whenever they do certain things in the anime. You know, they go all out for certain characters. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. At 1031s, right? 1026 is going to be really special as well. But when I think about how the anime can take what was already there and take it to the next degree, I feel like the 2 chapters that are going to be served on just a platter of like 6-star capabilities are 1049 and 1057, because those 2 I feel like will benefit greater from the anime with the insane soundtracks probably behind them. Like I said, the visual spectacle. But in 1057's case, the emotional soundtracks that are going to be playing there throughout the entire episode, and then finishing it off. It's probably going to be one of the more emotional episodes, not just in this arc, but I would even dare say maybe even the entire series. And I base that on how incredible the adaptation of chapter 902 was. Now, 902 obviously is a special chapter, right? And 902 is the final chapter of Whole Cake Island, right? When they did the anime adaptation, which I believe was episode 877. One of my favorite episodes in the whole series. And when they did that adaptation, they did such a special job with it. They've always done a special job with the final arc chapters, or the final chapters in an arc. But that one in particular, 1057, I think is going to be a really, really special one, because it feels like, just based on what we've seen so far in the anime, especially in Wano Onigashima, I feel like that one is going to receive the highest care. And so heading into next year, we all know we're all expecting some legendary stuff. I made a video last year talking about the moments I'm most excited to see in Onigashima whenever they get animated. But in the midst of all of that, I think, like I said, 2 chapters that the anime is gonna do a great job in handling are gonna be those 2, for sure. And it's not that they need it per se, but I feel like as a community, we are going to look at those at that in like a in a higher light, in a better light, thanks to the adaptation of those 2 chapters. But with that being said, it's going to be a strong year for the One Piece anime, man. A very strong year. And I'm thinking about the stuff that's just around the corner, the stuff that we're potentially going to get here in January and February. And it already has me losing my mind. Like, it's going to be an exciting time, man. And knowing, like I said, how consistent they've been in releasing quality episodes non-stop, back-to-back, elevating so many incredible scenes. Who's to say they don't elevate literally everything that we're all excited to see? I mean, brother, based on last year, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I cannot wait to see how Toei handles this upcoming year. Nothing but the best to everyone over there working at Toei, whether it be the individuals that consistently work on the series or the freelance animators they're going to bring on board. Nothing but the best to everyone, man. Because, and a massive thank you to everything that we've gotten throughout the entire series up until this point, especially in the past couple of years. That's just been so amazing, right? But this year, considering how many high quality chapters are going to be adapted back to back, nothing but the best to them. Nothing but the best, man. It's gonna be a crazy year, a lot of work, but man, like I said earlier, if it's anything like last year, we are in for something special in 2023, y'all. Very, very special. And I talked about this on stream before, but 1015s, they don't grow on trees, right? Like, I remember when 1015 dropped, I remember somebody asked, like, why doesn't an episode like that drop on a regular basis? And if we got favorite episode of all time material on a weekly basis, I mean, that's unheard of, right? That was a collaborative effort of some of the greatest to ever do it in this industry, to give us an episode of that caliber, right? So it might have been a once in a lifetime event there with episode 1015. But I will say this: if there's any other episode that has the potential to do that for now, obviously the stuff later on down the line in the series, if it receives an adaptation of that level for something of that magnitude, it could potentially surpass it. But this year, if chapter 1044 receives that kind of adaptation, I don't care if it surpasses it. I don't. As long as it's in that realm where we're having the conversation, for me, that's all I need. That's all I could ever ask for. They don't grow on trees, man. They don't grow on trees. And so I'm so excited for this upcoming year, obviously in both the manga and the anime. But the anime is going to be adapting some really, really special content. And so please, in the comment section down below, let me know your hype levels for this year's content, man. I'm sure you're all just excited as I am for the insanity that's about to be covered. I mean, yo, I think about it so often about how this stuff is going to be adapted. And then Toei in last year just continued to supersede all of those expectations every single time, man. And so if we have another one of those this year for a stretch that's so near and dear to my heart, by the end of next year, I'm not going to know what to do. Or I'm sorry, by the end of this year, I'm not going to know what to do. Because to get another year like last year? For the content that, oh my goodness, bro, we're getting nonstop heat. Like, literally, this stretch has the potential to be nonstop heat, man. Year of peak, ladies and gentlemen. A year of peak is inbound. So, I will see y'all next time. I hope all of you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Like I said at the beginning, anywhere there's One Piece hype, I'm there. And I'm in like swimwear. And so when I saw this, I was like, what a perfect opportunity to discuss how excited I am for One Piece this year. But also, you know, since we just finished looking back, and we're going to do that later on in the week with the episode of the year poll results, since we're looking back on 2022 and how marvelous of a year it was before we get the first episode of 2023, I thought this would be a great opportunity to really look at what's possible this year and where we could get. And if we really do get to that 1057, 1060 range of chapters by the end of the year, by the Flagnards, man, it's going to be a crazy year, dude. It's going to be a crazy year, y'all. It's going to be a crazy year. And so, can't wait. I just can't wait, man. So I will see y'all next time. Have an awesome day. One Piece is about to go crazy. And like I said earlier, nothing but the best to everyone working on this series, man. And a massive thank you. I couldn't be more grateful as a fan of this story, to continue to see so many of these chapters being elevated by its anime counterpart. It's just, it's phenomenal stuff, man. Some of that stuff is legit. It's peak. It's just peak, man. I'll see y'all. Have a good one. Take care. I can't wait to scream Goat Raw, Fire, and Peak throughout all of 2023 for these chapters being animated, man. So excited. I will see y'all.